This is the Galaxy S23 Ultra. It's the newest flagship phone that has set the bar pretty high for 2023 and no doubt one of the most feature-rich devices in the game today. And this is the Pixel 7 Pro, Google's latest offering since its resurgence into the smartphone arena and a bona fide fan favorite since its release last fall. And in the world of Android phones, these two are likely on everyone's shortlist of best available today as they boast many of the key features consumers want, but they also have some distinct differences that make them unique and stand out. So today I thought I'd put together a comparison review of the S23 Ultra and the Pixel 7 Pro, going into their similarities and differences as well as how my experience has been with both, all in an effort to help you figure out which phone is better for you. So first, let's talk about physical design and form factor, and let's start with the more seasoned Pixel 7 Pro. Google went with relatively minor design changes that builds upon the way more significant Pixel's transformation that was ushered in with the Pixel 6 lineup. So the Pixel 7 Pro still has that larger frame, definitely putting this firmly in the quote-unquote big phone category with its large dimensions and expansive 6.7-inch edge-to-edge display. You get a premium build with glass on both the front and back, all connected together with a nice aluminum frame. And though the phone maintains this now signature Pixel camera ledge, the housing is an extension of the frame rather than a separate piece. This does give a more unified, clean look and definitely one that's unique and different. It also has two separated cutouts for the three cameras on the rear, which does give it a distinct look in comparison to its predecessor. Now, one subtle but still notable change with the Pixel in comparison to last year's is that it has a slightly less curved display. It's not completely flat like the non-Pro variant, but the curve is not as aggressive as it was before, which I think is a good thing. It gives the phone a more refined and modern look and is better from an overall functionality standpoint as well. So a few things about the Pixel 7 Pro's design. I do think that this is Google's best effort in this area by a considerable margin. Not to say that the older Pixels were bad, they were some of my favorite phones from a functionality/value standpoint, but they definitely were not winning any awards when they came to look and feel. So in that regard, Google has come a long way to making its newest phone more aligned to current standards when it comes to what constitutes a premium phone, and it's a pretty major transformation. Now, some parts about this phone that aren't my favorite. Number one, it's by far the most slippery phone I've ever used. Not sure why, but Google made all the glass and the metal on this phone glossy. It slips and slides on almost every surface it finds itself on. I think if the glass on the back had a matte or satin finish, it would not only make the Pixel 7 Pro look a lot cleaner, it would also help mitigate against the millions of fingerprints that inevitably plagues the entirety of this phone. All in all, it still needs to be said that this is a massive improvement from the designs Google has been using in the past. The Pixel 7 Pro hits all the check marks when it comes to being a modern premium smartphone. Now, when talking design of the Galaxy S23 Ultra, much like the Pixel, it's a pretty incremental upgrade from last year. It still maintains the Galaxy Note's adopted DNA with its freakishly large dimensions, signature boxy look with those pointed corners, and of course that massive 6.8-inch display that essentially is the entire front of the phone itself. It also has a glass-on-glass build connected together by aluminum frame, but the back panel has a nice matte finish as opposed to being glossy. My personal opinion, I think this looks considerably better and it really does help fight against fingerprints and smudges. Now, this is a Galaxy Ultra device, which means it has the built-in S Pen integrated into the frame itself, which is definitely unique to this phone. Another difference between this and the Pixel is Samsung's approach to the cameras on the rear. It went with the super minimalist direction by having this free-floating design completely absent of any camera housing. It does provide for a very clean look, but I can understand folks who may criticize the design as bland or boring, especially as the rest of the panel being completely absent of anything really distinguishing. Where the S23 Ultra is similar with the Pixel is with its curved display. It too has a reduced curve, which in my opinion is a welcome change, especially because Samsung also flattened out the sides of the frame a bit to make the phone a bit more ergonomic and less prone to accidental touches. The S23 Ultra is still an unapologetically large phone that could be jarring based on what you were using in the past, but I've been steadily impressed at Samsung's ability to make this a relatively comfortable phone to use and operate, and overall, when it comes to design, I think it definitely edges out the Pixel here. It's not to say that the Pixel's design is bad, it's again a fantastically put together phone, but the S23 Ultra is just a class ahead. The pristine fit and finish illustrates Samsung's experience over Google in this area, and at the end of the day, the S23 has a more refined and mature design overall. But let's talk about performance and features on both the S23 Ultra and the Pixel 7 Pro, and let's start with their displays. Both are equipped with Quad HD Plus OLED panels that are extremely immersive with only their respective selfie cameras getting in the way. The S23 Ultra's display is slightly larger, but the Pixel's does have a higher PPI for an edge on resolution. But to put it plainly, both of these displays perform really well. Content comes off sharp with rich vibrant colors, great contrast with those true blacks, and both are a joy to use for watching videos or playing games. Both screens also come with a 120Hz variable refresh rate for that smooth UI navigation experience. Though both do well, I do give the slight edge to the S23 Ultra. The Pixel has gotten much better as it dealt with some throttling issues with the Pixel 6 Pro. You don't see that as much on the newest variant, but Samsung just does really good with high refresh rate displays, and it makes navigating around One UI on this super huge panel really enjoyable. Now when it comes to performance overall, both have some unique chipsets powering each phone. The S23 Ultra has more of the vanilla approach by using Qualcomm's Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chip. Now even though this is from a third-party vendor, Samsung did say that the S23 does have modifications to the chipset that has been specifically designed for the Galaxy. Hard to say what exactly those customizations are, but this is the first time the company has gone this direction. The Pixel 7 Pro, on the other hand, has a completely in-house processor with Google's Tensor G2 chip. This is the company's second iteration of their much-hyped mobile processor, and it's great to see more and more phones have fully integrated chipsets. Now again, when it comes to day-to-day performance, both perform really well. Apps open quickly and navigation is near stutter-free. Playing games on both phones is a walk in the park, and both have unique features that illustrate certain strengths. For example, Google's voice dictation abilities through apps like Google Translate is freakishly fast and really impressive. It also has some unique photo editing features like Magic Eraser and Photo on Blur, which no doubt leverages the strength of Tensor. The S23 Ultra flexes its own muscles with a near latency-free experience with the S Pen that is quite impressive. It has a faster and more advanced fingerprint scanner that noticeably performs better than the Pixels. And probably one of the most important areas of performance where the S23 Ultra just does better is battery life. And again, that's not to say that the battery life on the Pixel 7 Pro is bad. It's pretty decent all things considered. I've been getting around 6.5 hours of screen on time on a full charge. But dude, the battery life on the S23 Ultra is exceptional. It's to me the best battery life on any new phone right now, period. I've been getting over 8 hours of screen on time without any changes to the settings to preserve battery life. It's been pretty freaking great. At the end of the day, both phones perform really well as to be expected, but the S23 Ultra does have an edge here, particularly with areas of performance that most impact the user experience. But let's get into the most important area of performance for most consumers when it comes to making a decision on which phone is right for them, and that of course is camera performance. Both the Galaxy and the Pixel have hard-earned reputations for doing well in this category, and the S23 Ultra and the Pixel 7 Pro really don't disappoint. Now when it comes to still image photography, both rely on their beefy sensors as well as their fine-tuned computational photography settings to generate truly class-leading photos. Though both do well, I do give the edge to the Pixel here. Google's formula when it comes to image processing to me is still the leader in this competitive field. It's almost difficult to get a bad photo given how effective it is. Now you do get more range with the S23 Ultra as it does have an added 10 times optical zoom camera and some pretty intense digital zoom capabilities, but when taking a look at the shots side by side, the images coming out of the Pixels are a step ahead when it comes to quality. Now when it comes to video, this is where the S23 Ultra fires back. Samsung put in some extra effort around making their video capabilities better, and you see some noticeable improvements with sharpness and stabilization. The 8K footage looks particularly good, especially when you compare it to the Pixel 7 Pro's 4K footage, which is okay, but it's not the best when it comes to color accuracy and sharpness. So both have their respective strengths in this category, but I think it's fair to say that the S23 Ultra has the better overall camera suite. The still image quality may not be as good as the Pixels, but to be fair, I don't think anyone can take Google in this arena at this point, and it's still really good quality. Okay, so I know a lot of the wins went to the S23 Ultra, which may have triggered some of you Pixel fanboys out there, but hear me out, it makes a lot of sense why the score is like this. And the main reason for that justification comes down to one of the most important considerations when deciding on getting any phone, and that's the price. The Galaxy S23 Ultra has a starting price tag of a whopping $1,199, which makes this one of the most expensive flagship phones you can get your hands on today. With a price tag like that, you better hope Samsung does pretty well in this comparison, especially when you pair it against the $899 starting price of the Pixel 7 Pro, which is a significant difference. So when it comes to overall value, the Pixel 7 Pro has a clear and important win here, as you get a lot of phone for the buck in my opinion. And even though the S23 Ultra may do slightly better in a variety of different categories, you have to weigh in that premium you're gonna pay for getting this phone and determine whether or not it's actually worth it. Personally, I do think that the S23 Ultra is a better device that is more feature-rich and generally the stronger performer. But as a consumer who focuses heavily on value, the Pixel 7 Pro is a strong contender as it offers a ton for a substantially lower price. But hey, that's just me, and I want to know what you guys think. Which phone do you guys think is better? The brand new Galaxy S23 Ultra or the tried and true Pixel 7 Pro? Curious to get your thoughts. Let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments down below. Now, if you're still on the fence looking for more information on each phone, check out my dedicated reviews here. They're going to help you be as informed as possible.